Solitude Wisdom, 8 Traits of Seniors Who Live Life Fully and Joyfully. Have you ever wondered why some elderly individuals seem to age slower, maintaining sharp minds and boundless energy, while others seem to grow frail and disconnected? The surprising truth is that the secret to a vibrant, fulfilling life may not lie in constant social engagement or external validation, but in embracing solitude. In fact, only 5% of seniors maintain their vitality and mental clarity beyond the age of 70. But what sets them apart? In today's video, we'll uncover 8 powerful traits found in seniors who thrive in solitude, traits that not only help them maintain mental and physical well-being, but actually empower them to live more fully and purposefully. These are not signs of loneliness, but of profound inner strength and wisdom. Stay with me until the end of this video, and I'll reveal how you can harness these traits to enhance your own life, regardless of age. You won't want to miss this transformative insight. Deep thinkers, the mind that never rests. There are those whose minds are constantly in motion, never quite at rest, always diving into the depths of existence. For these individuals, solitude is not an escape, it is a doorway to deeper understanding, an invitation to unravel the complex layers of life and find meaning in the simplest of moments. In a world that glorifies busyness, where the constant hum of activity often drowns out the whispers of true reflection, deep thinkers stand as rare beacons of introspection. They are not distracted by the noise of daily life but instead carve out sacred time for contemplation, allowing their thoughts to roam freely and dig into the profound questions that most never pause to ask. Consider Albert Einstein, one of history's greatest minds, who, despite his groundbreaking work in physics, often spoke about the importance of quiet contemplation. Einstein famously said, "The important thing is not to stop questioning. Curiosity has its own reason for existing." His solitary moments spent thinking deeply about the universe were not simply moments of intellectual exercise, they were a reflection of his need to connect with the mysteries of existence. Through his reflective mind, he made discoveries that changed the course of history. Now, imagine George and Arthur, 2 men in their mid-70s. George, surrounded by a flurry of social gatherings, endless chatter, and bustling daily activities, often finds himself tired, though he never stops moving. His calendar is full, yet his thoughts remain fragmented, never quite piecing together the bigger picture of his life. On the other hand, Arthur, a quiet man who spends much of his time in solitude, begins his mornings with a brisk walk and a reflective silence. As the day unfolds, he carefully observes the world around him, writing his insights in a journal and allowing his mind to wander into the depths of human nature and his own existence, while George may have an endless stream of interactions. It is Arthur who truly lives a life of richness. His thoughts are carefully curated, and his words resonate with depth, grounded in his profound inner world. There is no rush in his life, only a slow unfolding of wisdom that is not hurried or distracted by the superficialities of everyday existence. Deep thinkers possess an ability to process life in layers, unveiling complexities that often go unnoticed by those too preoccupied with surface-level concerns. They are the individuals who find profound meaning in the mundane, whose questions challenge the status quo, and whose answers shine light where others see only shadows. Their reflections are not just intellectual exercises but tools that help them navigate the world with clarity and peace. This reflective mindset allows them to embrace life with a calm assurance, never anxious to conform or seek external validation. Their sense of self does not depend on the opinions of others but on the quiet assurance that comes from their own insights. This type of thinking is a rare and valuable gift, one that provides inner peace and the clarity to move through life with grace, regardless of external circumstances. In a world filled with noise, the deep thinker finds solace in silence, for it is there that true wisdom is born. Emotionally independent, happiness comes from within. There is a profound freedom in being emotionally independent, an ability that allows one to feel whole without the need for constant external validation. For those who embrace solitude, this trait becomes an unshakable foundation upon which their happiness is built. They understand, perhaps better than anyone, that true joy cannot be found in the fleeting approval of others but in the depths of their own hearts. Consider the journey of Socrates, the ancient Greek philosopher who lived a life of simplicity and contemplation. He famously declared, "He who is not a good servant will not be a good master." Socrates was not swayed by the opinions of others, nor was he ever concerned with fame or fortune. His happiness came not from external praise but from a life of questioning, learning, and understanding himself. In his solitude, he found peace, recognizing that true mastery of life begins with emotional independence. Take the example of Henry, a 72-year-old man who has spent years working in various fields and now enjoys his time with a deep connection to nature. His mornings begin with the tranquility of tending to his garden, and his evenings are spent reading books that transport him into worlds of thought and insight. Although he loves his family dearly, Henry doesn't wait for their calls to feel fulfilled. His contentment lies in his own steady sense of purpose. "I am enough as I am," he often says, emphasizing that emotional strength comes from within and not from outside sources. This kind of emotional independence is not a denial of relationships, but rather an acknowledgement that one's well-being should not be tied to another's approval. Mahatma Gandhi is another figure who exemplified this trait. Despite facing immense political and personal challenges, he maintained a profound inner peace, grounded in his unwavering principles. Gandhi's emotional resilience allowed him to lead with wisdom and compassion without being swayed by external pressures. Emotionally independent individuals exude an aura of calm that is infectious. They do not chase after the whims of social validation, nor do they rely on external factors to shape their sense of self-worth. Instead, their happiness is like a river that flows from deep within, unbothered by the passing seasons or the opinion of the crowd. The true power of emotional independence lies in its ability to free one from the chains of dependency. By recognizing that happiness resides within, these individuals become anchors in a turbulent world, steadfast, peaceful, and unwavering in their sense of self. This freedom is the quiet strength that others are often drawn to, even if they can't quite put their finger on why. Emotional independence doesn't require the absence of relationships, it simply requires the understanding that one's emotional well-being is a personal responsibility, not a product of others' actions. In learning to be content in solitude, one can discover a deeper sense of fulfillment than what external connections could ever offer. Highly observant, seeing what others miss. There is a rare breed of individuals who, when left alone, don't feel the absence of others, but instead, they feel the full presence of the world around them. These people possess a quiet but remarkable ability to observe, to catch the nuances of life that others, in their hustle and noise, miss. Their solitude becomes a canvas on which they paint the finest details of existence, details that often pass unnoticed by the busy eyes of the world. In a world that demands speed, efficiency, and multitasking, those who prefer solitude become the silent detectives, gathering insights from the smallest of moments. They are not rushing through life with their minds scattered across a dozen tasks. They are fully present in each moment, seeing what others overlook. The way a leaf trembles in the wind, the subtle tension in someone's smile, the rhythm of a heartbeat in the silence of the night, these are the things that resonate deeply with them. Take, for example, Virginia Woolf, the renowned English writer, who often found solace in long solitary walks, where she would observe the smallest details of the natural world. She wrote, "I will show you my thoughts, not by words, but by the sound of the river, the whisper of trees, the rustling of leaves." Her writing, rich with profound observations, was the product of a sharp awareness cultivated in the quietest of moments. Woolf's brilliance lay in her ability to perceive what others couldn't, a world filled with unspoken truths. The subtle undercurrents of human emotion, and the unnoticed beauty of everyday life. Consider William and Daniel, both 70 years old. William thrives in the bustle of social gatherings, constantly surrounded by friends and conversations. However, despite his lively interactions, he rarely remembers the details, the fleeting expressions, the way someone's voice wavers when they're hiding something, or the small gestures that reveal a person's true feelings. On the other hand, Daniel, who enjoys his peaceful solitude, can sit for hours in the quiet of his backyard garden. He watches the sunlight play on the leaves, listens to the chirping of birds, and notices when someone's mood has shifted, when the seasons seem to change a little earlier than usual, or when someone's words seem to carry a hidden weight. For Daniel, solitude is not an empty space, it is an expansive awareness. He does not just look at the world, he absorbs it. His attention to the smallest details has granted him an intuitive understanding of people and the events unfolding around him. Where others may hear only noise, he hears the underlying melody. Highly observant individuals are more than just good at picking up on cues, they become experts in reading between the lines. Their sensitivity allows them to perceive patterns that others miss, to understand motivations, and to recognize the unspoken language of the world. They notice the flicker of doubt in someone's eyes, the subtle shifts in tone that reveal more than words ever could. This acute awareness often makes them profoundly wise. They can predict outcomes, understand human nature, and offer guidance in ways that seem almost instinctual. They are the ones who can sense when someone is in need without a word being spoken, or when the world itself is changing in ways that most people don't notice. The depth of their observations allows them to live with a certain grace and understanding. They navigate life with an intuitive compass, guided by a sensitivity to the rhythm of the world and the people in it. This heightened perception, cultivated in solitude, is not just a gift, it is an art of seeing what others are blind to. Selective with relationships, quality over quantity. In a society that often prioritizes the expansion of social circles and the pursuit of networking, seniors who favor solitude exhibit a refreshing, yet rare, perspective, the understanding that not all relationships are created equal. They don't rush to fill their lives with countless acquaintances, but rather, they choose carefully, surrounding themselves only with those who resonate with their values, beliefs, and deepest interests. This approach to relationships is not about the number of people in one's life, but the depth of connection shared with a select few. In the words of the philosopher Socrates, be slow to fall into friendship, but when you are in, continue firm and constant. This timeless wisdom reflects the mindset of those who understand that true friendship is not about collecting people, but nurturing bonds that stand the test of time. It is a philosophy that underscores the value of emotional intimacy over social validation, where each connection is meaningful and significant. Take, for instance, Emma and Clara, both in their early 80s. Emma is a woman of few words, but the friends she does have share her love for classical music and philosophy. They engage in profound discussions over long cups of tea, sharing thoughts on the nature of existence and the meaning of beauty. Emma's social circle may be small, but each relationship is a source of intellectual stimulation and emotional satisfaction. She does not feel the need to make room for new faces, the few she has are enough to satisfy her soul. In contrast, Clara's life is filled with a wide array of social engagements. Over the years, she's accumulated a list of acquaintances, people she meets at parties, events, and social gatherings. Yet, as time passes, she finds herself drawn away from the superficiality of these interactions. Many of the friendships she once held dear have become hollow, draining her energy more than enriching her spirit. She now seeks deeper, more authentic connections, ones where the exchange of ideas and feelings feels genuinely reciprocal. For seniors who embrace solitude, it's not about loneliness, but rather about cultivating a sense of inner peace that is only possible through carefully chosen relationships. These individuals are not consumed by the need to be constantly surrounded by people. Instead, they find joy in the few who truly understand them, and with whom they can be their most authentic selves. Whether it's a close-knit family, a circle of trusted friends, or even a solitary partner who shares the same quiet appreciation for life, these connections provide a sense of fulfillment that no large gathering ever could. This selectivity extends beyond friendships, it governs their entire approach to relationships. They choose those who lift them up, who challenge them in thoughtful ways, and who offer mutual respect and care. For them, the superficial chatter of casual acquaintances holds no allure. They have learned that it is far more nourishing to engage with those who enrich their lives, rather than spread themselves thin in pursuit of fleeting interactions. As Montaigne once said, the most certain sign of wisdom is cheerfulness. For seniors who are selective with their relationships, this cheerfulness does not come from the number of people in their lives, but from the deep, meaningful connections that sustain them through the years. Their relationships are not sources of obligation or stress, but are fountains of joy, understanding, and mutual growth. In the end, the quality of relationships far surpasses their quantity. In a world where it's all too easy to become overwhelmed by a constant stream of acquaintances and social obligations, the wisdom of selective relationships offers a pathway to lasting contentment and peace. It is a reminder that the richest bonds are often the simplest ones, those that come from shared values, mutual respect, and genuine care. Creatively inclined, finding expression in solitude. In the quiet embrace of solitude, seniors often unlock a creative wellspring that the noise of the world would drown out. Here, they are not bound by deadlines, obligations, or the opinions of others. Instead, they have the freedom to explore the deepest corners of their imagination, unencumbered by external pressure. Creativity becomes not just an activity, but a vital force, a medium through which they connect with their innermost self. Solitude is the sacred space where Leonardo da Vinci once found his most profound revelations. Da Vinci, a polymath of boundless creativity, famously said, "Art is the queen of all sciences, communicating knowledge to all the generations of the world." He understood that the quiet, reflective moments away from the world are where true creativity flourishes. It is in this sacred silence that seniors discover their own form of artistic expression, whether it be through music, writing, painting, or any number of creative pursuits. Take Helen, a 79-year-old woman who has spent the last few years writing a memoir. Her words are a rich tapestry of her experiences, woven together in the calm solitude of her study. She often speaks of how the absence of noise, both external and internal, has allowed her to revisit the past with clarity and insight. Without the constant hum of daily life, her mind is free to wander through forgotten memories, where the seeds of her story have taken root. Each sentence is a brushstroke on the canvas of her life. Then there is John, a 75-year-old violinist who, for decades, has played for his own soul. Unlike many musicians who perform for crowds or in grand concert halls, John prefers the solitary echo of his violin in the quiet of his living room. Each note he plays is an expression of the solitude he cherishes. His music, rich with emotion and complexity, is a gift he gives to himself, a way of reconnecting with his essence, outside the demands of an audience. He finds beauty in the act itself, not in the applause that follows. The truth is, creativity often thrives in isolation. There is a rare clarity that comes when the world steps back and allows the mind to wander freely. Seniors who embrace solitude know that their best ideas are not born under the pressure of a ticking clock or a crowded room, but in the slow, undisturbed rhythm of their own thoughts. Creativity becomes an intimate dance with their deepest self, a way of translating the intangible into something real, something they can touch, see, and share. This creative freedom is not just about producing art for the sake of output. It is an expression of the unique wisdom that comes with age, a reflection of a life lived fully, with the space to absorb the complexities of the world. For these individuals, creativity is not a fleeting phase or a hobby, but a way of engaging with the world in a profound and lasting way. Just as Winston Churchill, another historical figure who found refuge in solitude, once noted, "Solitude is the best nurse of wisdom." Seniors who prefer solitude understand that creativity is not just about expression, it is about understanding, healing, and growth. The act of creating, for them, is as natural as breathing. It is their way of processing the world, interpreting their experiences, and leaving something beautiful behind for future generations. In this quiet space of reflection and creation, seniors uncover not only new forms of artistic expression but also new dimensions of themselves. They embrace their creativity not because they seek recognition, but because they understand that, in the end, creativity is an exploration of the soul, a journey that only solitude can provide. Strong self-discipline, living with purpose. Seniors who find solace in solitude often possess a remarkable level of self-discipline, an internal compass that guides them with unwavering consistency. In a world where distractions and societal pressures pull in countless directions, those who embrace solitude cultivate the ability to carve their own path, focusing on what truly matters to them. For these individuals, self-discipline is not a restrictive force but a liberating one, allowing them to live with intention and clarity. Take Hannah Arendt, the renowned political theorist, whose genius was partly attributed to her dedication to solitude and disciplined study. Arendt once said, "The most radical revolutionary will become a conservative the day after the revolution." This statement reflects a profound understanding of human nature, which she was able to comprehend deeply through her years of solitary reflection and commitment to intellectual discipline. Through her solitary hours, she shaped ideas that would resonate across generations, illustrating the power of living with purpose and discipline, even in times of great societal change. Now, consider Edgar, a 79-year-old retired teacher whose life is a testament to the power of routine. Every day, without fail, he wakes up at 6 a.m., not because he has to, but because he knows that in those early hours, he finds the peace and clarity necessary to begin his day with strength. Edgar follows this with a brisk walk to keep his body active, and an hour of meditation to center his mind. This disciplined morning routine has not only preserved his physical health but has also allowed him to stay mentally sharp, even as he ages. For Edgar, self-discipline is a way to honor the years he has left, ensuring that each day is filled with purpose. Self-discipline, for those who embrace solitude, is not about rigid rules or austere living, it's about harnessing the inner strength to act consistently in alignment with one's values. It's about taking control of their own time and energy, refusing to let external distractions dictate the course of their lives. They know that to live with purpose requires sacrifice and focus, but the rewards are immense. These individuals often thrive in their solitary pursuits. They may dedicate themselves to lifelong projects, whether it's writing a novel, mastering a craft, or even learning a new skill. They don't wait for inspiration to strike, as their disciplined routine generates momentum even on the quietest days. The ability to keep pushing forward, even in the absence of external encouragement, is the hallmark of a life lived with purpose. Consider Marie Curie, whose relentless work ethic and unyielding discipline in solitude led to groundbreaking scientific discoveries that forever altered our understanding of physics and chemistry. She famously said, "I am one of those who think like Nobel, that humanity will draw more good than evil from new discoveries." Her achievements didn't come from the fleeting bursts of motivation that many rely on, but from a quiet, steadfast commitment to her work, day after day. It was her disciplined approach to solitary study that enabled her to uncover truths that have enriched humanity. In their solitude, these seniors are not lost or aimless, they are builders of their own destiny. They have learned the art of self-discipline not through force but through the quiet cultivation of their inner will. The strength they cultivate through routine and purpose allows them to navigate life with greater ease and fulfillment, regardless of the inevitable challenges that come with aging. The consistency they have in their daily habits ensures they continue to grow, evolve, and achieve, long after the world has moved on. Their lives remind us that purpose does not need to be loud or dramatic to be meaningful. It is often in the quiet moments of self-discipline, when the world is silent, that the greatest growth happens. Self-discipline isn't just about achieving goals, it's about becoming the person you've always known you could be, no matter the stage of life. Embracing change, the flexibility to adapt. A defining characteristic of those who thrive in solitude, particularly in their later years, is their profound ability to embrace change. Far from the traditional view of the elderly as resistant to the shifting tides of life, many seniors who enjoy their own company are remarkably adaptable, transforming challenges into opportunities for personal growth and reinvention. Consider Søren Kierkegaard, the Danish philosopher, who spent much of his life in relative solitude, delving into the ever-evolving nature of the human experience. He once said, "Life can only be understood backwards, but it must be lived forwards." Kierkegaard's ability to adapt to the ever-changing nature of existence was a testament to his deep understanding that change is not something to resist, but something to embrace as a natural part of the human journey. His solitude allowed him the space to reflect on this ever-changing world, making his works timeless in their relevance. Take Hannah, a 78-year-old woman who embodies this transformative power. At first, she resisted the rise of technology, believing that new gadgets and apps were unnecessary distractions. However, when the pandemic forced her to live more isolated than ever, she saw an opportunity to learn and evolve. With persistence, she conquered her initial hesitation, mastering video calling apps like Zoom to stay in touch with friends and family. What began as a reluctant foray into the digital world became a newfound joy. The change, which once seemed daunting, became an avenue for connection and growth. Those who embrace change in their senior years often carry a quiet wisdom with them. They are acutely aware that life is in constant flux, a principle embraced by Heraclitus, the ancient Greek philosopher who famously stated, "The only constant in life is change." This understanding of the fluidity of life frees them from the weight of nostalgia and regret. They don't cling to the past or resist the inevitable currents of life. Instead, they bend with them, finding new paths and perspectives that are in harmony with the present moment. This trait enables them to face the challenges of aging with grace. The prospect of declining health, mobility, or the loss of loved ones may come with sadness. But these individuals recognize that each stage of life brings its own set of opportunities to reinvent themselves. Just as a river shapes the land over time, they, too, allow themselves to be reshaped by their experiences, finding creative solutions to new challenges rather than succumbing to defeat. Consider Nelson Mandela, who, after spending 27 years in prison, emerged not as a man embittered by the changing tides of his life but as one who had embraced his circumstances and learned to adapt. His capacity for transformation was not born out of naivety but from an intimate understanding that change is inevitable, and the key to navigating it lies in one's ability to adapt without losing one's core self. Mandela's life exemplified the profound strength that comes from flexibility, a strength that allows individuals to not just endure, but to thrive amid adversity. For seniors who embrace solitude, this flexibility becomes a bedrock for independence. They do not mourn the loss of the past or resist the physical limitations that age often brings. Instead, they use their deep well of life experience to chart new courses, whether by adopting new technologies, forming new routines, or finding innovative ways to remain active and engaged with the world. This capacity for adaptation allows them to maintain control over their lives, to remain independent, and to continue growing in the face of inevitable change. They do not see aging as a loss of potential, but as a new chapter in an ongoing journey. This is the beauty of embracing change, not as something to fear, but as something to welcome with open arms, confident that, like the river, they will continue to carve out their place in the world. Spiritually grounded, embracing the bigger picture. Seniors who seek solitude often possess a remarkable spiritual depth, one that transcends the boundaries of conventional religious practice and taps into a universal connection with the mysteries of life. For them, solitude is not a void but a sacred space where they align with their higher selves and the greater universe. They are spiritually grounded, able to see beyond the ephemeral nature of existence and embrace the eternal flow of life. Take Clara, a 75-year-old woman whose mornings are reserved for quiet meditation and contemplation. Clara does not adhere strictly to any religious dogma, but her heart is full of reverence for the vastness of the universe. She doesn't seek validation from a congregation or ritual, but instead finds solace in the rhythm of her breath and the hum of the world around her. In the stillness of her solitude, she communes with something greater than herself, an invisible thread that binds her to all of creation. This spiritual grounding is more than just a coping mechanism for aging, it is the foundation upon which these seniors build their sense of peace and acceptance. Like Thich Nhat Hanh, the renowned Vietnamese Buddhist monk who taught the art of mindfulness and living in the present moment, they understand that every breath, every moment, is precious. Thich Nhat Hanh famously said, "The present moment is the only time over which we have dominion." through his teachings. Many have come to realize that the beauty of life lies not in the past or the future, but in the now, an understanding that quiet, contemplative solitude helps nurture. For these spiritually attuned individuals, aging is not something to fear. In fact, it is seen as a natural progression in the great cycle of life. Death is not an end, but a transformation, a return to the source from which all things come. This profound understanding allows them to meet life's inevitable challenges with serenity. They are not consumed by anxiety over the future or paralyzed by the loss of physical vitality. Instead, they embrace the fleeting nature of life as an invitation to experience each moment more fully, with gratitude and humility. History is full of examples of those who, even in their later years, maintained an unwavering spiritual connection that allowed them to navigate life's hardships with grace. Socrates, the ancient Greek philosopher, was in his final years when he faced his own mortality. Despite being sentenced to death, Socrates famously said, "Death may be the greatest of all human blessings." His understanding that life's impermanence was not something to lament, but something to accept with courage, illustrates a spiritual maturity that transcended his physical existence. Similarly, Mahatma Gandhi, in the later years of his life, embodied this deeply grounded spirituality. His fasts and moments of deep solitude were not just political acts but spiritual practices that brought him closer to understanding the interconnectedness of all life. Gandhi believed that the best way to find yourself is to lose yourself in the service of others. A sentiment that resonates deeply with those who have cultivated a quiet, reflective existence that centers on a higher purpose. Being spiritually grounded is not just about the quest for inner peace, it's about recognizing that peace is already present, woven into the fabric of the universe. It is a subtle shift in perspective, where one understands that each moment, however fleeting, carries meaning and purpose. These seniors do not just survive the process of aging, they embrace it with a knowing calm, trusting that everything is unfolding as it should. They are not bound by fear or regret. They carry within them an understanding that, in the grand tapestry of life, their existence is but a small but significant thread, contributing to a larger whole. And in this realization, they find the courage to live fully, to love freely, and to let go with grace. Imagine waking up each day knowing that your inner world is balanced, peaceful, and deeply connected with the essence of who you truly are. No external chaos, no unnecessary noise, just the quiet strength to face whatever life brings your way. These 7 traits we've explored today are not just markers of solitude, they are the pillars of a life well lived. From emotional independence to creative expression, these seniors have mastered the art of aging gracefully, finding joy, purpose, and fulfillment in their solitude. And so can you. Now, it's time to take action. Embrace the quiet moments in your life, seek inner reflection, and choose to nurture the traits that will lead you to a more meaningful existence. Start today by carving out time for yourself, practicing mindfulness, or picking up that creative hobby you've been putting off. We are building a community of those who understand the value of peace, wisdom, and personal growth. Join us by subscribing, and share your thoughts in the comments. What has solitude taught you? Remember, aging isn't about growing old, it's about growing deeper. Let's create a life filled with clarity, purpose, and joy together. Like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more transformative insights on how to live a more meaningful life. Your inner peace is your greatest strength. Let it shine.